Hey guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Franchise Fanatic and welcome back to the channel. And today for you guys is another animated movie review, or I don't even know why I said that, another movie review. Today we're tackling the latest DreamWorks film, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Now, Puss in Boots 1 came out in 2011, 10 friggin' years ago, and I remember seeing it in theaters with my friends. We all had a big birthday party at Regal, or whatever it was called, and we enjoyed that movie. Now, as far as DreamWorks movies go, it's pretty crazy that this movie sequel took 10 years to come out, but as far as DreamWorks films go, a lot of them, I've always seen DreamWorks as kind of the little brother to Disney. Disney was always, at least before they got woke and liberal, they were always the, biggest and best animation company out there. And then, there was DreamWorks, and I guess then Blue Sky or whatever, they were at probably the bottom for me. And then, of course, the Lego movie came out, and the Lego movies are obviously, I even think, better than the Disney movies, all four of those. But, the DreamWorks movie, Shrek 1 through 4, I know it's Donkey, get it, me swamp donkey, fucking Fiona, and then you got, it's just, sorry, Shrek, you're pooping, just poop and fart jokes. And I know All-Star, Smash Mouth or whatever, I get it. There's memes from Shrek, I understand. I went to Universal Studios, and there was some Shrek stuff, but Shrek has always been my least favorite DreamWorks. It was alright. I don't hate them. I think they were okay movies, but there were better. Kung Fu Panda was pretty good. How to Train Your Dragon trilogy is great, except for the fact that Hiccup has the most annoying voice in the history of ever. We have Trolls. I didn't see any of that stuff. There was a lot of DreamWorks movies I didn't see. I think there was one with a horse or something. It was obviously aimed at girls. Women and girls, but I didn't see it obviously. There hasn't been a good DreamWorks movie I think since for a while, and The Bad Guys recently came out. That kind of pioneered these Into the Spider-Verse style of animation where it's non-traditional. It's 3D, but it's in that weird like no man's land or that weird uncanny valley area where it's like they're the skid marks on the bad guy in the Bad Guys movie. The cars like anime-esque. You know what I'm saying? It's like Spider-Verse and. Then this movie comes out, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, starring Antonio Banderas, the Puss in Boots. I think it was pretty good. And the first one, I think the first one was really good. I actually recently resaw it. I think over the summer, my mom and I went before they shut down my effing theater, and I saw it again. And Puss in Boots 1 is a good movie. It holds up. It's not my favorite, but it's really good. I think that coming from the Shrek franchise, Puss in Boots is probably the best movie to come from all four of the Shrek films. And then enters The Last Wish. This movie, I'm just going to be honest, it's a masterpiece. It is. I'm sorry. It's so good. If you haven't seen the first Puss in Boots, you have to see it. It's kind of like I guess, see all the Shrek movies and Puss in Boots 1. But The Last Wish, man, it's freaking gorgeous. I mean, everything about this movie is fantastic. The writing is fantastic. The acting, the voice acting is freaking amazing. Antonio Banderas is probably his best role out of anything he's ever been in that I've seen him in. He's really good in this movie. Salma Hayek is great. The guy who plays Burrito or whatever, the crazy Chihuahua dog. He's in there. So there's all that. And then I don't know why I'm doing that. I'm like Tony Stark. And then you have of course, the action and the animation. That's the biggest thing in this film. That is a departure from Puss in Boots 1 and majority of the DreamWorks, films, and that is, of course, like I said, the stylization. I forgot to mention Rise of the Guardians. That's my favorite one. We need a sequel. Anyway, back to the animation. They basically have, again, the Bad Guys Spider-Verse, where a majority of the movie is I wouldn't say normal 3D. It's kind of like if you play Borderlands, it's kind of like a comic booky, cell shaded ish. Thing. It's weird to describe. You have to look at it, but it's weird to talk about. But during the action scenes, specifically the beginning, there's moments where Puss in Boots is fighting these guys, and the animation kind of changes and kind of alters, where he's just kind of flipping and flopping around, and they're doing all this crazy stuff, and it looks fantastic. I mean, it's very energetic. The animation is beautiful looking as it is. The normal movie, but then it kind of like cuts into these, I guess scenes, and you're looking at it, you're like, wow, it's like the animators took a shot full of, like they took a needle and they just it's like full of caffeine and Red Bull and Monster, because they just went to town. They popped off and they made these gorgeous animation scenes. I mean, the action scenes of this movie are phenomenal. Straight up, they're phenomenal. I mean, there's, you know, the camera's cutting in and out. You know, the Puss in Boots is running on top of a freaking house, and there's stuff going on, you know, during these action scenes where it's not, I don't want to say dumbed down, but, you know, the first movie had good action too. But this one just feels more energetic. Not just because of the animation style, but because of the way they directed it. You know, every single shot in this movie is amazing. Like, the framing is fantastic. You know, there's scenes where, like, there's a pond here and a desert here, or, you know, like, grasslands here and winter cottage here, and it's, like, cut down the middle. You know, there's shots, like I said, where Puss in Boots is running on a building and he's jumping, and you're following him. But then there's other people in the background, you know, kind of fighting or doing their own thing, or, you know, there's a visual gag or whatever. You know, it's really, really good directing. I mean, I don't remember the guy that directed it. I don't remember the name, but he did a damn good job, I'll tell you that much. Really, really good job. You know, for a DreamWorks movie that, in my opinion, a lot of the times just makes subpar to okay animation, you know, with the exclusion being, of course, you know, Rise of the Guardians and I guess How to Train Your Dragon from what I remember. I'm not saying they're all bad, but you get what I'm saying. But this film is not only unique in its execution and its style and its animation, but also just the story. Like, Puss in Boots died 8 times, and he's on his last life, so he has to, you know, kind of figure out how to live with himself, live with the legend of himself, while also dealing with Kitty Softpaws, Burrito, or whatever that dog's name is, and also dealing with the main villain of this film, which is probably one of the most freaky and antagonizing villains since Pitch Black in Rise of the Guardians, of course, being Death, the wolf Death. Of course, this film is from the Shrek canon, so it does follow the fairy tale, what is it? Not, I don't remember. It's something. Fairy tale and the other one, the rhyme one, I don't remember what it's called. But, you know, it's basically like, you know, you have Pinocchio, you know, from the Shrek movies, of course, but you have, like, Little Bo Peep, you have the Baker's Dozen or whatever, you know, the guy with the thumb in the pie thing. I mean, it's genuinely entertaining stuff because I didn't read the Pie Guy, but I know about him, you know, oh, what good boy am I, you know, from Adventure Time and all that, and it's really cool to see that, you know, these fairy tales and all that, and these stories, they're in there, but they're not just shoehorned in, like, they're part of the story, and the jokes that, you know, the word puns and all that, it's not too egregious, and it also makes sense because they're saying these funny, you know, he's like, what a good boy am I, you know, the bad guy, and he's not little, and he's just a big fat guy with a purple hairdo, and he's sticking his freaking thumbs, like, always purple, because he's dipping it in pies. So Little Bo Peep, you know, they're making jokes like, oh, this one's just right, or that one's too hot or too cold. But the whole just right thing is part of the Little Bo Peep. Little Bo Peep, is that right? I don't know. What the hell's her name? You know what I mean. The cottage and the 3 bears and the just right. I don't remember her name. Is it Little Bo Peep? I don't know. Whatever, I'm drawing a blank. I'm filming at 11:30 at night. But, you know, that character plays a very vital role in the story, and the whole, you know, just right element of it is not just a joke. It actually, without spoiling, it really does, you know, play into the plot quite nicely. But Death, man, Death is such a badass, cool villain, man. He is awesome. The fight scenes with him are awesome. He's got, like, 2 sickles, which is kind of cool. He's just, like, stabbing and slicing and all that. Really, really good stuff. It's genuinely funny as well. There's, of course, you know, I think the latter half of this film's marketing kind of tried to capture the Shrek marketing lore feel, where they're playing the All-Star Smash Mouth thing and all that. But I remember the first Shrek movie came out, and that's a PG-rated movie, and I remember watching it, not in theaters. I didn't see it in theaters, but I saw it on TV. I don't even think I own it. But, you know, there's moments where they're saying hell, damn, crap. Shrek just straight up calls Donkey, you stubborn jackass. You know, it's like, oh, can you say jackass in a PG movie? I don't think you can nowadays. And look, DreamWorks has never been a children's franchise, right? They've never made movies specifically for kids. None of their movies are kids' films, that I have seen at least. Shrek is definitely not a kids' film. It's for everyone, right? It's just an animated movie. We've gone over this tons of times on my channel. I'm a big advocate of animated movies versus kids' movies. And Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, definitely not a kids' movie. It is definitely under the, obviously, it's no shit, it's animated, but you know what I mean. In terms of the labels, it's an animated movie, and the fact that it's not just for children. Yes, there was a kid at my theater, but when he wasn't laughing at one joke, he was being restless and pounding on the floor and doing this. And kids don't, you know what I mean? Like, look, I know a lot of boomers see animation, they go, oh, that's for a child. I'm above that with my pinky out, drinking my beer, watching, I don't know, Citizen Kane. It's like, if you have a brainstem that works, you'll know that 99% of animation isn't strictly for children, unless it is literally an educational thing. So, the one kid in the theater was quite bored, because look, I don't know how old he was, I didn't study the kid, I didn't even look at him, but from what I could, gather from hearing him laugh and talk, he didn't sound that old of a kid. He sounded like maybe 4 or 5, which is definitely not the right age to bring into The Last Wish, I'll tell you that much. But he was quite clearly bored. He was talking, he was fidgeting. It was just because like I said, kids they don't understand the plots and the immense the storytelling and the lore and the jokes. They just see colors and go wow. I know kids aren't like retarded stupid or anything. They're not like that dumb. But, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like all kids just look at colors and go, wow, colors. They're not brain dead. But, I picked up on stuff that a little kid won't, because, again, it's not a film strictly made for little kids. They do say hell, damn, crap. Little Kitty Softpaw says bullshit, and then they cover her mouth. She says, I submitted bullshit. So there's definitely swearing in it. And, obviously nothing that bad. It is a PG-rated movie, but it crosses the line of being just a fun action movie with Puss in Boots, saying, oh, Puss in Boots, and, Kitty Softpaws, and, leche and milk and holy frijoles, they bound that line of, they're telling a funny movie, or I should say they're telling a serious movie that tackles serious subjects, like enjoying your life and making, living life to the fullest, and even facing, coming to terms with death and mortality, while also telling jokes that are funny and genuinely entertaining, while making a very well-animated movie with a lot of awesome stylization, where, again, it's like that, like Bad Guys Into the Spider-Verse animation, everything clicks. Every single shot in this movie looks good. Every single joke landed. Every single animation style, it's a freaking feast for the eyes, man. It's like my eyes were in heaven for an hour and 45 minutes or whatever. It just looked that good. Again, the voice acting is top tier. The animation is top tier for DreamWorks. Easily their best looking movie. It's a masterpiece, man. As far as negatives, I genuinely can't think of a negative. I mean, I knew going into this it would be a good movie because DreamWorks doesn't make crap and the first film is good, but I didn't realize it was going to be that effing good. Like, it's really good. Like, it's one of the best years, or best movies of the year for sure. I'd say right now it's probably the Batman or I don't know, man. Did Jurassic World Dominion come out this year? I think Uncharted's alright. The Bad Guys, I think that was 2022. That one's really good too. But this movie is one of the best, films of the year. Definitely, I think probably my favorite animated movie of the year for sure. It's just a fantastic movie for all ages. And if you're an adult, watch it. If you're a teen, watch it. If you're probably a little bit an older kid, watch it. Again, I'm not anyone's parents. But again, there is some cursing. There's a lot of heavy themes, some violence. It's definitely not like Trolls, where it's just them singing and dancing and there's confetti and rainbows. This is a more mature DreamWorks movie. Like, I'd say it's on the maturity level of Rise of the Guardians or maybe like the Kung Fu Panda, How to Train Your Dragon type of thing. Even the first Puss in Boots, I guess. But overall, man, The Last Wish is just a great movie. It's got really funny moments, and I mean genuinely funny moments. I laughed out loud a lot. There's some fun, action. There's a great story in there, again, with Puss in Boots having to realize, I'm down to my last life. I'm literally fighting death. So there's that. It's kind of like Old Man Logan, but with a talking cat. The voice acting is good. The Puss in Boots and Kitty Softpaws, they bounce off each other really well. Just a really great time, man. And again, that animation really boosts everything up to an 11. Just a great looking movie for sure. So I'm gonna give Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, an A+. I genuinely can't think of a negative for this movie. I was really racking my brain. And I don't normally agree with critics. I don't even care what they say. If they gave this movie a 2%, I would still give you an A+ rating. I know people sometimes go, oh, if Rotten Tomatoes doesn't like it, I don't like it, because I'm a sheep. Look, if something looks good to you, and everyone in the goddamn world hates it, who cares? Watch it, because it looks good to you, Don't be a drone. Form your own effing opinion. So, if this movie got a 1%, I'd still give that A+ review. But thankfully, this movie's got a 95%. So critics loved it, which is good. Because normally, I love a movie and critics give it a 30 or a 20. And then I give it like an A or an A+. So I don't know. That's the wonderful world of opinions, right? But again, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is a great movie, definitely my favorite animated movie of the year, and definitely a contender for one of the best films of the year. I'll have a movie, before 2022 ends talking about that, but what a great movie for sure, man. The animation, the voice acting, the writing, the storytelling, the action, the comedy, everything just comes together. Of course, I didn't cry. I teared up a little bit. There are some genuinely heartfelt moments. I wasn't expecting that either. So just a great movie. I think this movie is, I would say the number one DreamWorks movie is Rise of the Guardians, and then number two is easily this film. Easily. It's just that good. It's up there with the best of Disney or the Lego movies. Or Tintin. It's just a great film, and I really couldn't think of any negatives walking out of that theater, or even just now thinking about it. I really can't. Everything about this movie just works, and it works really well. So without spoiling anything, because I know not everyone has seen it yet, I tried not to give too much away in this review, but tell me in the comments down below what you think about Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, and what did you like better, Puss in Boots 1 or this movie, The Last Wish? Tell me in the comments down below. I have to say The Last Wish. As you guys know, I've just gushed about it for X amount of minutes. But like I said, I genuinely enjoyed this movie. I knew I would like it, but I didn't know I would like it that much. It's, like I said, one of the best movies of 2022. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.